Are you looking for inspiration on a daily basis? Then check out Deal to Heal Teas. With our inspirational teas, you're sure to find something to inspire you. That's dealtohealteas.com. Put some inspiration in your situation. Wear inspirational tea and be inspired all day. Let's go to dealtohealteas.com. Again, that's dealtohealteas.com. Hey guys, if you're enjoying this podcast, then I know you'll enjoy the Girl Dad Discussion podcast. I'm your host, Ernest James, and I believe the relationship between a daughter and her father is one of the most important relationships a young lady can have. And therefore, my mission is to promote the daddy-daughter relationship by sharing the voices of girl dads to the world. So check out our podcast on every platform where podcasts can be listened to. And if you want to watch the podcast, check us out on our YouTube channel. Again, that's the Girl Dad Discussions podcast with your host, Ernest James. Hey guys, this is Ernest James, host of the Deal to Heal with E. James podcast. And I got a question to ask you. Could you buy me a cheeseburger? Better yet, could you buy me a value meal? Yes? Well, guess what? I don't need a value meal. However, for the cost of a value meal, you can support this podcast to keep us on the air. Just go to Patreon/Deal to Heal podcast and choose any one of the 3 tiers that's available. And if you just want to make a one-time donation, go to Cash App and make a donation to $EJames, the number 418. Make a one-time donation to the Cash App, or again, go to Patreon to support this podcast and keep us on the air. Thanks in advance. Be blessed. Welcome to Deal to Heal with E. James podcast. On this podcast, my guest and I will discuss topics and ways to help us to heal in every area of our lives. I believe that everyone can live a life that is happy, healthy, and whole. So I'm on a mission to help people to deal, heal, and fulfill. Deal with your problem, heal from the pain, and fulfill your purpose. Thanks for tuning in. Let's get to it. Welcome to the Deal to Heal with E. James podcast. I am your host, Ernest James, and I believe that everyone can and should live a life that is whole, healed, and healthy. And therefore, I'm on a mission to help people to deal, heal, and fulfill, to deal with your problems, to heal from the pain, and to fulfill your purpose. Thank you guys once again for tuning in to the Deal to Heal to E. James podcast. If you haven't already, make sure that you listen, like, subscribe, and share to our podcast on all of your podcast listening platforms, as well as our YouTube channel. We actually share a YouTube channel with our partner podcast, the Girl Dad Discussions podcast with E. James, on our YouTube channel. So when you go there, when you look up Deal to Heal with E. James podcast, you also get the playlist for the Deal to Heal podcast, as well as the Girl Dad Discussions podcast, as well as some other podcasts that we got coming up. So make sure that you guys follow us on YouTube. Also, check us out and follow us on all of your podcast listening platforms. Also, I'm going to tell you guys how you can win $100 from the podcast, but you got to stay until the end of the show in order to get that information. All right, which I know y'all going to stay to the end anyway because you love the show. Also, our product of the week, as you guys know, we are a self-sustained podcast, and the way that we stay up on the air is by bringing you amazing products for you to purchase to help us take care of our bills. And also today we have 2 amazing products. We have our Purpose Journal and our Purpose Planner that is out now. Both of those can be found on Amazon under Deal to Heal, dealtoheal.org. On Amazon, but that is our Purpose Planner and our Purpose Journal, both which are available on Amazon, and they may be available at eBooks by E. James soon. Not just yet, but coming up. So probably by the time you guys hear this, it should be available on our website where we also sell our ebooks, which is ebooks by ejames.com. And also, you should be able to find our purpose journal again and our purpose planner, which are both out now. All right, all right. So today, just like any other day, we are blessed with the guest, Mr. Marcus. How you doing?
I'm doing well. How you doing, Ernest?
I am doing well. I am doing well. First of all, let me say thank you for being on because you could have been doing anything else with anyone else, but you took out time to be here with me and my listeners, and we definitely wanted to let you know we appreciate it. And so, Marcus, do me a favor just to kick things off. Introduce yourself to my audience and tell us who you are and a little bit about what it is that you do.
So my name is Marcus Ogden. I'm from Washington, D.C. I live in a little bitty town called Fuquay, Varina, North Carolina, which is about a half hour outside of Raleigh in our capital of North Carolina. I am a current national, international keynote speaker, executive coach, business consultant, best-selling author, podcast host, business owner, brand ambassador, and I'm also a former NFL athlete.
All right, all right. You said a mouthful. We definitely gonna try to break up all of that and get into all of that. So, Marcus, do me a favor. Let's go back to the beginning. And I don't know what started first, whether it was which part of the things that you do started first. But generally, I know that as a speaker myself and also as a podcaster, there's a story behind the story, right? There's a story of who we are and who we became when we became the person that we are today to start doing the work of reaching out into others. So let's go back to the beginning and even talk about who was Marcus in the early days and what was kind of one of the pivotal moments in your life that changed for you that you said, you know what, now I want to go speak and be that light into other people.
So I played in the NFL first, of course, for almost 6 years. Got out of that. Then I struggled immensely with alcohol addiction, pain. I didn't learn how to heal from the lack of having football in my life. I had been playing football for 15 years, high school, college, professionally. And when then it was gone, it's like, wow, what is next? And I've talked to a lot of my brothers, brotherhood, same thing, what do I do? Who am I? And luckily, the NFL today has a lot of resources for guys when they leave so they can start to heal from the pain of not having the game in their life, because it's a really big transition from being an athlete and the stadiums, everybody yell your name and the lights are on and fans are going nuts and crazy, and then after that you're like, poof, you're just like anybody else. You just get up in the morning and you go do your day and you're not in the stadium anymore. You don't have people screaming your name anymore. So I didn't heal from that. I never learned how to deal with learning to start healing from that, the lack of having sports in my life. So finally, I got myself together. I built a very successful construction company, real estate company. We were in Baltimore City, did work all around the state of Maryland. We were killing it. But unfortunately, again, I hadn't really healed from, football, and I had a massive ego still at that time. And that ego cost me some of my best employees. It cost me my organization when I was doing a job that was not a good job. It turned out where I lost. Well, I spent about $2 to $3 million in 90 days getting some work done. The developer denied my change order, and it sent me into a Chapter 7 bankruptcy. Then I moved to Raleigh, North Carolina with $400 to my name she was my fiance at the time. She's now my ex-wife, and my stepdaughter, who she is still my stepdaughter. And of course, I have a 9-year-old daughter, as you know as well, Ernest. And from there, my friend, I still didn't have any accountability, and the healing didn't start until I hit my rock bottom moment as a custodian. And I call it my spoiled milk trash moment, when someone's trash, rotten meat, nasty garbage got all over my body, my skin, and my clothes in September 2013. And that was my wake-up call that made me say, well, you know what? Now I want to start speaking.
So what I mean, okay, I'm gonna go back to that. I'm gonna get back to that. So let's go back. Let's go back because you mentioned about um playing in the NFL, and I don't want to stay here because I know your story is much broader than those 6 years that you played in the NFL. But I want to go back before that because I've never talked to anyone that's played in the NFL. so, so how was that? Even the mindset of going into college and even going into the NFL and playing during that time. How was that mindset? I know you said afterwards, you had some ego things, but even in the midst of that, was there a level of accountability during that time, during your playing time, that kind of kept you level amongst your teammates, or was it kind of just like a drop off once that stopped?
Right. So it's interesting. And at the end of the day, my friend, what I realized is the following is that mindset is what got me from a athlete at Howard University, well, the Howard University, to the National Football League. And in life, if you want to heal from pain, if you want to move past obstacles, you better have a unbreakable mindset. You better learn how to push through adversity. You better learn how to overcome obstacles, because life is not linear. And at the end of the day, if you realize that life is not linear, at that time you can start to make the moves and learn how to deal with life and develop the mindset to get through anything. So the NFL, college football, playing the game taught me a lot about how to overcome adversity, because I faced a lot of that after I lost my business. I faced a lot of that probably about 2 years ago, having to file for a divorce from my spouse. So let me tell you, man, my life has constantly been trying to heal from pain.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So I want to go back a little bit too, also because you mentioned about um, leaving the NFL and then kind of adjusting to normal life. And I remember listening to a podcast, and a gentleman who he didn't play professional, but he played from a child all the way up to college. And then once his career, he ended up getting injured, so he wasn't able to go into the NFL after getting injured in college. But he called it the post traumatic sports disorder. And so we talk about our soldiers having stress disorders and things, but he called it the sports disorder, that a lot of people who have spent their whole life playing a sport, to get to the highest level that they can get to, and then once they reach that level and then are no longer connected to the sport, they have sort of the same thing that you had, of kind of readjusting it, and sometimes even going into a depression um, after leaving that sport. And I can kind of identify with it in my own, because I'm in construction also. I'm a bricklayer by trade, 17 years in. But I know that some of my coworkers, some of my guys that was friends of mine that were older than me, and even in some of my own family situations, where they spent so much of their time being identified with their occupation, that once they were no longer doing that, it was kind of like they were kind of lost. It's like they didn't have a definition of themselves. So how did you kind of overcome that, and kind of find your way after realize, okay, my career is done, now it's time to go into the next thing, but still missing those lights and missing all the things that came with being in the NFL.
So, Ernest, I tell everybody, if you're going to get through and try to find or refine yourself, you better figure out what you do really, really well. And so for me, when I figured I was a good speaker, a good communicator, a good storyteller, I had a story to tell, I wanted to help people, that's when I said I want to start speaking. Now, of course, it didn't happen overnight. I didn't
Mm-hmm.
get a paid job for 2.5 years because, again, I love the name of your show. I didn't heal from the business failure. I hadn't learned anything. I hadn't humbled myself. I didn't learn how to bring value to what I'm doing. As a result of that, no one paid me. No one hired me. I would just go up there and tell a random story that had no equivocation, no alignment to the theme of a client's talk, either leadership or culture. Like I did a leadership talk when I was with a client in Minneapolis, and they nailed it because it was trying to really inspire their leaders. We talked about 4 keys to a great leader. We talked about how leaders have to help others overcome obstacles. We talked about how leadership is not a title or a privilege, it's a responsibility. We talked about how they need to learn how to engage people and build trust and have to create loyalty and have to do all these things. So now today I get it. But when I started, oh my gosh, I was so horrible. I just want to go up there and tell a story and think, oh my God, here I am. Listen to me, bro. And what happened is I did a story, I did a presentation for a client. And my friend who hired me said, Marcus, great passion, great energy, wrong topic, wrong theme. And once I learned that, I'm like, oh, I got to tie in the theme to what's happening. I got to bring this in full circle. And that's when I started to get booked more and more to where we're at today, doing a lot of work either on mindset, on leadership, on culture, diversity, equity, inclusion, wherever the case may be.
All right, all right. So how long have you been speaking now since you got started?
I've been speaking now, my friend, for 10 and a half years. I started September 2013.
All right, all right, all right. So I know as part of well, not part, well, I guess I can say part of your speaking, you're also an author too, right? And so you I think you have two books that I have knowledge of. So let's talk a little bit about your books and even the subject matter around that and how you use that, how those books can even help your audience.
So so I'm a best-selling author of 4 books. 2
Oh,
I
okay.
co-authored with people. One was a leadership volume book. The other one was called Pivots, Persistence, and Game Changers, where I put a chapter into both those books. They were both bestsellers. But the 2 that we did on our own with our own brand was Sleepless Nights, the NFL, a Business and a Family. And the other book was The Success Cycle, 3 keys to building success: ambition, drive, and hard work. We actually talked about ambition, drive, and hard work in our talk we did in Minneapolis for Center Space Homes. And so the book has been huge. As a matter of fact, it's a great point, Ernest. The client, Center Space Homes, bought 150 books. I signed every last one for everybody in the room. Everybody took them. People took pictures with me with their book. They were so excited to have a signed copy. And it's a great way to have a conduit between you and a client or a potential client. Just like having a podcast is a great way to get people into your ecosystem, into your circle, into your atmosphere to do business. So again, our books have been phenomenal, helping us get more credibility, helping us gain more traction to try to go out there and heal more people when we speak on stage with our story, then wrap in, of course, right, Ernest, the action steps.
Yeah, 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 yeah. So let's talk a little bit about your podcast because you're a podcaster too. And so let's talk a little bit more about your podcast. What is kind of the theme of the podcast, and who is well, is it a solo podcast or do you have guests? And if you do have guests, who are some of the people that or even the type of people that you bring on? Are they coaches, like life coaches and things like that, or are they actual like other sports figures like yourself?
So it's called Get Authentic with Marcus Ogden. We are about 19 and a half, close to 20 months old. We're in the top 0.5%, top half percent most popular podcast worldwide. Very fortunate in that regard. We've interviewed all kinds of people: athletes, celebrities, coaches, entrepreneurs, business leaders, humanitarians, you name it. We've had such a large amount of guests that want to come on to our show. Our show is half an hour long. We always interview people. It's not solo. I did my first episode ever solo to kind of announce me and the show to people. And here's the thing, right? Talk about dealing to heal, right, Ernest? I started the show June of 2022. June 22nd, 2022 is our first show being published. I filed for divorce from my ex-wife July 26th, 2022. So dealing with all the pain, dealing with all the anxiety of, having to filed for divorce, move out, things happening. I was caught off guard, didn't plan for it. It wasn't like, oh, we've been having problems for years. No, no, no. This was sudden. This was like, oh my God, like what? And so it was just, it hit me like a ton of bricks. But throughout that, the podcast was a way I was healing myself, or at least trying to heal myself by interviewing amazing people, sharing their stories with people who needed to heal like I was trying to heal. I was in therapy, and I still am in therapy to this day. I've been going to therapy on and off my whole life since I was 8. Our dad put us in therapy when my parents divorced. So I've been dealing to heal my entire life. But I want people to understand, you can create something magical. You can create something just earth shattering, no matter how hard, no matter how tough, no matter how dim it seems. As long as you are the light that can blaze any trail, you can move forward no matter what.
Yeah, and I think that's awesome, and I think that's kind of maybe it's I'm sure it's not just me, but I kind of think like podcasting is sort of like our therapy, right? Because we get to have these conversations and we get to share these amazing stories of overcoming and breakthrough, and even having the conversations that allow us to get some things off our chest. So since I started the podcast, I'm very open about the things I've been through, my divorce and my depression and suicide ideations and all of the things that I've been through. But one of the reasons why I'm so open about it is because I want other people to have the same freedom to be open about the things that they're dealing with, because there's nothing new under the sun, right? So everything that we're dealing with, somebody else is dealing with either the same thing or sometimes even worse than what we're dealing with. And so when we're able to open up and share our stories and share, our trials and tribulations and even our overcoming, how we made it through, we're able to share the stories and the answers to give people, for them to be able to make it through some of the things that they're trying to make through as well. So before we get out of here, I'm gonna keep it short because I know you're a busy man. But last question I want to ask you, which I already asked you before, we mentioned briefly that you do have a daughter, and as my listeners know, I have my other podcast is the Girl Dad Discussions podcast. So whenever, and I haven't even done this in a while, I got to get back to it. Whenever I have a girl dad on this podcast, I always ask two questions. Number one, what does it mean for you to be a girl dad? And number two, what is something that your daughters have taught you?
Being a girl dad is everything to me. It's fantastic. It's phenomenal. And what I can say is my daughters have taught me patience. My 21-year-old stepdaughter is studying at NYU in Madrid. Her boyfriend's coming to see her he goes to Rutgers, come out to see her actually this coming weekend. And I feel really good knowing that my daughter feels safe enough to tell me these things and know I'm not going to judge her. Say, what are you talking about? Why is he coming to see you? What's going on? Well, that's not. And I'm like, no, you know what? She's 21 years old, and when I was 21, I was doing all kind of things myself. So like, I have to remember that she is a young adult doing her thing. And with my 9-year-old, I'm learning a lot of patience. And I want people to understand something. In order to heal, right? And this is just my opinion. What I did was I did the 4 V's. And I talk about this a lot, but it really fits this awesome podcast. If you're going to try to deal to heal yourself from pain, first thing you got to do is you got to visualize. You got to visualize what you want in life, where you want to be. If your body is not where you want it to be, use your mind as the escape tool to visualize a better tomorrow, a better place. Again, that's number 1. 2 is vocalize. If you're going to heal yourself, you got to talk good about yourself. You can't say, well, I'm trying to heal. Oh, I suck at this. Oh, I'm trying to heal. Man, I'm bad at this. And I'm trying to heal. Oh, well, why is this? Why this never works out for me? I mean, you can't talk like that to yourself, right? Great saying by Bruce Lee. Do not play tricks on your mind, or do not talk negative about yourself. Your mind and your body cannot dissimulate the difference. Bruce Lee said, if you're talking negative about yourself in a joking manner, your mind and your body don't know the difference. So vocalize good thoughts. Vote. Do something every single day towards your goals, towards your dreams. Coming in your podcast, check the box, right? I talked to a client about getting a potential speaking job in October in Vegas. Think I'm going to get it. Check the box. The guy was a huge Buffalo Bills fan. Went to a store and I bought a football, put it in the mail, signed it, sent him a picture, said, man, you're the guy. You're awesome. I said, you know what, man? Take care of people that take care of you. He said 100. And so now we've got a guy who's going to always feed us work because he knows when I tell him I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it. So vote one thing every day. And then vicinity. Who you hang around is who you become. So again, visualize, vocalize, vote. Vicinity creates victory. And I'm going to tell you this, when I filed for divorce and I moved into that apartment November 1st, 2022, for 2.5 months, all November, all December, first half of January, I was depressed. I drank a lot. I was just out with multiple women doing all kind of craziness because I was just lost. I calmed myself down in January of 2023, around the 15th of the month, that halfway point. I got focused. I got visualizing. I got voting. I got vocalizing, and I changed who I was around. I started to heal. I was able to buy my dream home in May of 2023, 6 months ahead of schedule. I was able to turn my life around. I have a much better outlook. I'm in healthy relationships with my friends, and people I'm seeing now are people that I really have a chance of a future with. I'm learning how to get through all the stuff. And my life is not perfect, it's not any means, but I learn now how to deal with the pain to heal through going through all the hard times, the rock bottoms, the apartment, the divorce, the anxiety, the stress, the suicidal thoughts, the not wanting to live anymore. Been there, done that. So if you're listening to this podcast, it's a great message. You have the power to heal yourself, but your mind has to believe it. And it starts with visualizing what you want if you aren't where you want to be.
All right, all right. I love it, Marcus. I usually always, I'm still gonna say it anyway. I usually say leave us with a word, but already gave us a word. But I know you got some more. I know you got some more. So I want you to leave us with word of advice, inspiration, however you feel. And I want you to also to share your social media handles and everywhere that someone can get in contact with you if they wanted to hire you to come out for this as a speaker and things like that. And so, but before you do that, or should I say, why? I'll give you a minute to think about that. To my listeners, thank you guys for tuning in to the Deal to Heal with E. James podcast. Make sure that you guys are following us on our websites. Our main website, or should I say, my main personal website is the Deal Heal fulfill.org website, which is you guys know that my mission is to help people to deal, heal, and fulfill, to deal with your problems, to heal from the pain, and to fulfill your purpose. So my website is dealhealfulfill.org. Also, make sure that you guys check out our inspirational teas at deal2, the number 2, heal teas, deal2healteas.com. Put some inspiration in your situation. Wear inspirational tea and be inspired all day. That is our tagline. And last but not least, make sure you guys are checking out our ebooks at ebooksbyejames.com. Again, that's ebooksbyejames.com. There are several ebooks there that I know you guys will definitely enjoy. Also, I've been blessed to be a part of an organization called the Forgiveness Mission. And what we do is we hold free virtual workshops every quarter of the year, talking about forgiveness, what it is, what it's not, what it means to forgiveness of self, forgiveness of others, just everything around the world of forgiveness. And I think it's very important in this time that we're living in, that we really understand what forgiveness is. And it's free. Again, we have it every quarter of the year. So whenever you're listening to this, either one just passed or one is coming up. So make sure you guys go to forgivenessmission.com in order to register for our next free virtual workshop, or just go to Eventbrite and look up Forgiveness Workshop by Forgiveness Mission, and you'll be able to register there. I'm very excited about that. I really like that. I'm glad that we're doing it, and I know it'll be a help to a lot of people. Last but not least, I told you guys I would tell you how you could win $100 from the podcast. You can win $100 from the podcast by entering our super subscriber contest. So first, you must subscribe to our YouTube channel, to our Facebook page, and to our podcast on Spotify. After you've done those three things, text the word WIN, W-I-N, to the number 866-326-0730 to qualify to win $100. The contest is random and it's ongoing. So once you're in, you can always win. You don't never have to re-up. Just make sure that you text the word WIN, W-I-N, to the number 866-326-0730. And when you do that, make sure that you also send your contact information. We have people that's texting the word WIN, but then you don't put no contact information. So we can't contact you if you are our $100 winner. So make sure that when you text the word WIN, you also send your contact information as well. Mr. Marcus, once again, let me say thank you very much for being on. Thank you for giving us your expertise and even enlightening us with your wisdom and your knowledge. I definitely appreciate it. I want you to have the last word, so the floor is yours.
I'm going to leave with one of my favorite quotes by Aristotle. In times of extreme darkness, focus on the light. And what I believe Aristotle meant was we have the power to be the light. We have the power to help others who are struggling. We have the power to enlighten and brighten other people's trail. And it starts with this. People have to be willing to be strong enough and confident enough that they can do it. And when you believe that, nothing is going to hold you back. Nothing. And that's what moves it forward.
All right. Do you want to leave us with your social media handles or how someone can get in contact with you if they want to work with you?
Oh, yeah, man. Great way to get in touch with us is go to our app, the Marcus Ogden app, MARQUES OGDEN. If any Apple store, any Android store, go to your app store, type it in. Bam, it'll pop right up. You can just subscribe there and follow us. It's free. You can get exclusive free content on the app. You can also go to our website, www.marcus, MARQUES Ogden, OGDEN.com, or you can go to our 360 link, Marcus360.com, and check out our podcast, Get Authentic with Marcus Ogden. We are on Apple, Spotify, Google, iHeart, Stitcher, Pandora, YouTube. Again, very successful, very blessed to be in that top 0.5%. Check us out, subscribe, and we'd love to have you listen and tell you what you think about our show.
All right. And we can't end it no better than that. To my listeners, once again, thank you guys for tuning in to the Deal to Heal with E. James podcast, where our mission is to help people to deal, heal, and fulfill, to deal with your problems, to heal from the pain, and to fulfill your purpose. Until next time, you guys be blessed. Hey guys, I know you're enjoying the podcast. However, don't forget to join our text line at 866-326-0730. That's 866-326-0730 in order to receive text messages with new events and things that is going on and new episodes as they release. All right, see you in a minute. Thanks for listening to the Deal to Heal with E. James podcast. Remember to listen, like, subscribe, and share. This episode has been brought to you by Deal to Heal Teas. Put some inspiration in your situation. Wear an inspirational tea and be inspired all day. Let's go to dealtohealteas.myshopify.com. Remember, our mission is to help you to deal, heal, and fulfill. Deal with your problem, heal from the pain, and fulfill your purpose. Thanks for listening.